All right, everybody. Good afternoon. It is afternoon, barely 1 o'clock. Hope everybody's doing good out there. Give everybody a couple minutes to jump on here. It is 1 o'clock on Wednesday after. Is it Wednesday? It is Wednesday already.
Wednesday.
Wow. Kind of just dawned on me. I guess I knew, but middle of the week. Wednesday afternoon, and it's getting to be, well, I typed up earlier, I said it was getting to be that time of the year where models start sniffing things out in the tropics. But it's not getting to be, it is. It is that time of the year where the models start sniffing things out in the tropics. So, we got a lot of new people to the area, many of which have not probably dealt with hurricanes, certainly as much as we have here in Florida. And so I kind of wanted to go over a couple things about how to look at these models, how to take these videos that you see on Facebook, these model pictures that you see on Facebook and things like that. How to kind of understand what you're looking at there and how to take it in stride, because we do have something in the extended forecast models that's saying we could potentially have some kind of system in the Gulf close to Florida by about the 23rd, 4th, or 5th of this month, which is 2 weeks away. All right, so 2 weeks is a long time when you're talking tropics, when you're talking any kind of weather forecast model, to be honest with you, but especially when you're talking tropics, because we're all used to seeing there's the cone, is the storm going to go this way or that way, is it going to stay in the cone, and then you see a forecast model from 2 weeks out that says here's where it's going to be. Well, that's going to change. It changes the day before it gets to you, right? So we don't have anything developed out there right now, but I thought it was actually probably a good idea, since we're at the beginning of the season here, really. It's June 1st it starts, but we always seem to get something in May. Last 7 years in a row, we've had a named system in May. Doesn't mean we're going to have it this time, but there's a possibility. But so I thought it was just a good idea to kind of go over and explain what to get used to seeing here, right? What that is all about. So here we go. Let's start, first of all, with the system here. So I wanted to point out one thing here. You see this up here. I don't know how my drawer here. This up in here, that's that little weak, well, it's not all that weak, but that's that nor'easter. It's calling all the erosion and wind up across the Carolinas, right? That's actually what's pulling down our dry air. Watch that as it drags southwestward, then moves westward into the Carolinas. You see that right there? That's Friday morning. All right? Not going to develop, doesn't look like it. It's non-tropical, not a worry. In fact, it's bringing us dry air here in the Tampa area. But it is going to move on shore, it's like Friday and the Saturday, and bring some rain up into that area, mainly during the day on Friday. Okay? It'll change our pattern a little bit. We'll start to get a little bit more humid over the weekend. And rain chances actually, I think, start to come back by the time we get towards Wednesday of next week. So let's go to Wednesday of next week. All right? And here we go. That's Wednesday morning. You see, you're actually quiet in the morning. Let's look in the afternoon. You see this? That are those afternoon showers and storms. Tropically speaking, what we're watching here is down here in the Western Caribbean. This is an area that we watch this time of the year for tropical development. All right? So does the model. The model knows it's going to happen. The model thinks it's going to happen. So the model kind of gets a little excited more times than not and always throws something up. But now we're talking a week out from today. Okay? So let's go out to not this weekend, but next weekend. That's Saturday, not this Saturday, but next Saturday. You see this right here, southwest of Cuba. There's a low developing. There's a high up here to the north and the east. You look underneath that high, yeah, you see the pressure's lowering a little bit. Yeah, you see the GFS model at least. Isn't this one run of the model showing that something develops there, right? And then look what it does. It develops it. It's got a closed low on the western tip of Cuba by the 23rd, which is Monday. And then you come on up, look at that. That looks interesting, right? The 24th, Tuesday. That's the night of the 25th. And then there you go, it takes up in the Panhandle the night of the 26th and then the 27th. So we're talking 2 weeks out, guys, right? Let me show you what the run before this looked like at the same exact time. So the one on the left, well, that's actually even doing something weird here. Let me go back 2 runs. The one on the left initialized at 6Z. That was early this morning. The one on the right initialized later. Well, before that. It doesn't even have anything on there. So I know you're seeing this out here. I've seen it on social media. The one on the right has nothing. The one on the left has hurricane, minimal hurricane moving on shore up in the Panhandle. Okay, so remember, this is 2 weeks out. One of the ways that you can look at this is what we call ensembles. What I just showed you was one run of the GFS model, right? What I'm showing you here now is the GFS model, but it's going to be multiple runs. So let's come out here. There are multiple runs plotted at the same time. Let's go out to the 8th to the 19th. See this low down here? So that one version of it thinks it's going to be running here. Another one sees it here. Another one sees it here. Another weak one there. All right, let's go back out to the 21st. Look at that. You've got one that thinks it's pretty strong up near the Yucatan. One that thinks there's a low over here south of Cuba. One that's on the western tip of Cuba. One that thinks it's up near New Orleans. A weak one. Very weak, low pressure, nothing big. Let's go out to the 23rd. These are multiple runs of the same model overlaid over top of each other. So there won't be all these low pressures all over the place, but this is multiple runs with each one of them plotting what it thinks is going to happen. So you can see overall, there's a lot of L's there, right? There's a lot of little circles there. There's a lot of little areas of low pressure. So the model is basically sniffing it out and saying, you know what, not just the one main run seeing it, but a lot of the runs are kind of saying, hey, the devil's in the details. We're not going to know any of these details right now. None whatsoever, right? But the model is saying that we think we're going to have some lower pressures here starting in the Western Caribbean, drifting up into the Gulf of Mexico. And guess what? That's exactly what is normal for this time of the year, right? When we look at tropical development in late May and June, that's the exact area that we look, and up into the Bahamas as well too. So, shocking that the models are seeing this? No. Is this going to happen? Maybe, but it's a long way out. So if you see a picture of a model saying, hey, there, look at this. This is the 25th or whatever, like, it could be. But this, when you look at an ensemble, which means a whole bunch of different ones, it kind of gives you a better idea because we don't know the details, right? But this gives you an idea that the model's thinking, yeah, look at that. So it's got a bigger one moving in, right? And then it kind of tries to do another one after that by the 27th, 28th. This one will probably go out further to the east. So if any of this were to come true, I'm just kind of looking at large patterns at this particular time. And this right here is a pattern. All these L's, all this lower pressure here in the Western Caribbean and Gulf of Mexico, that's a pattern. Now, that was the GFS. Let's jump over. Let's do the European model. What's the European model thinking? Well, let's go out to the 23rd. Oh, it's got something here. Not a lot. Not a little low there. Not a lot. But it's starting to sniff something out. Here we go. The 24th. There's one here, another over here, another over here, another over here. So you get the idea. The European is not as bullish, but it too has lower pressure here, lower pressure here, lower pressure here. It too is keeping an eye on this same area for that same period. Okay? And so the reason why I'm on here today trying to explain this is that I can't go on TV and be like, oh, get ready for the 23rd or 4th or 5th because we're going to have a storm. We can't hype those things up like that. We can give you an idea that things are starting, but at the same time, the GFS model, the European somewhat, but the GFS especially, this time of year tends to, you get past days 10, 11, 12, 13 in the forecast is what it typically tends to do. So when you see it out there a lot on social media, kind of for us here, it's like, well, the cat's out of the bag. What do? We're kind of, we're flip-flopping. Like, do we tell people about it? Like, I can't post just an image and be like, keep an eye on this. Don't think it's going to happen right now, but there's a possibility. But if I get on these Facebook Lives and talk to you, I can see Nadine and Paul, and you see all these people here, just to give you a heads up of what we're sniffing out. So, I mean, you can see all the hurricane prep stuff that we do. You'll see all our specials, all of our things on social media, all of our little hacks that we've had to help get ready for the season. We do those this time of the year every year, so that's nothing new. It's not related to this. But they're important because, we could have a named system before we get to the beginning of the season, which would be 8 years in a row if that were to happen. But there you go. So you've got both the ensembles for the European and the GFS, both kind of sniffing something out. So we'll keep an eye on. We'll see what happens. certainly looks interesting, right? It's like, oh, don't want to get started with this system already this year. All right, so that's it. That's where we stand. Notice, look, this has been showing up on the models for a little bit. The models run 4 times a day. We're seeing this. We're just not mentioning it 4 times a day every time it runs, because at this point we just don't know, what's going to happen. So what you need to know is that week, heads up, models are sniffing something out. Climatologically speaking, it's not that far out of the woods, right? It's not that far out. That can happen. And details, there are no details right now. Pattern-wise, there's a pattern. So you got a plan, you got a hurricane plan, you got a kit, all that kind of stuff. Go to 10 Tampa Bay YouTube page. Incredible resource there. Lots of videos kind of show you how to, what you need to think of. And when you get there, search for the hurricane hacks. Really, really good stuff, and we're putting a whole lot more stuff on there as well too. So go there, check it all out, get your plan ready, get your kit ready just in case, all that good stuff. And then, if we do have to deal with something, we'll deal with it, and we'll of course we'll walk you through it all the way. Today is the 11th. The 15th, the Hurricane Center begins their outlook, which is that thing where they show you the satellite and radar, or just the satellite really, and they circle areas of storms that you may see there and say, hey, that's a 10%, 20%, 30%, 40% chance of developing. That will start on the 15th. There will not be anything here at that time. Okay? So this is so far out, this is 2 weeks away. But that will be something that we'll be keeping an eye on for you, because eventually things start boiling up down here in the Western Caribbean like they normally do, and then we could end up with something that we got to watch developing. So we'll walk you through it. We'll see if it happens. Right now, I'm not extremely worried about it. It is something I'm like, oh crap, I'm going to deal with this, because, like I said, the pattern makes sense for this time of the year. So both the European and the GFS seeing it, we'll keep an eye on it. Tyler, you got anything to add? Nope. Autumn, got anything to add? You weren't here when I started.
No, I don't know.
Okay. Autumn says don't worry about it.
I think the thing is we're rolling our stuff out, perfect timing for everyone. We got a lot of hurricane stuff coming out, so it's good to prepare yourself. Even if you've been here for a while, to just kind of refresh on everything that you need to know, because you can forget about it over the course of a year.
Absolutely. If you're new to the area, especially, it's not fun to go through a hurricane or anything like that, but it's not the end of the world either. We've had people really upset, very stressed out. If you have a plan and you kind of are prepared, that takes a lot of that off the table right away. So, people still live in Florida. We still have hurricanes. We'll be fine. But this game that we're playing with the forecast model now, and in fact, now it's with social media as well, that's what I kind of really wanted to get on here and talk about today, because you're going to see a lot of it. Just know that time, it's basically space and time, and weather. Look, it can rain on this side of the parking lot and not on that side of the parking lot, okay? Tropical stuff, does it even develop 2 weeks out? That's a long, that's like saying we're going to get thunderstorms 2 weeks out. This is a long way out. We're just sniffing out a pattern.
Yeah, I always think about it as like, if you're betting on a sports game and you're trying to bet the final score of the game. Well, early on, everyone's going to have their predictions. They're going to be all over the place. But as you get closer in time, you start to know, okay, which team is likely going to win and how it's going to play out. And it's the same thing with ensembles.
Yeah, it's a great way to put it.
You have this big range in the beginning, but eventually as time goes on and you get the details together, we'll have a clearer picture of what it's going to look like.
Yeah. And sometimes in the models they do this a lot, so we can't go and mention every time we see this, because then we'd be crying wolf every time we see something. But that's it. This is the season, so get ready. And it is actually one good thing about the first storm, whatever one we deal with, even if it doesn't come near us or anything like that, is that it's a good example to get everybody to get ready. Yeah. So we'll use it for that. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you for watching. Of course, we'll be here all the time. I'll be on at 5 and 6 tonight. Natalie will be in. Full team is here today, too. So it's real quiet weather day. Beautiful out there. In fact, soak up the drier air that's in place now. Probably not going to see anything like that. Probably not until the end of the season. So we're talking late October before we get a stretch of dry air like this that we've had. So soak it up. All right, guys, that's it for now. Don't forget my Facebook page is Bobby Deskins Weather. We'll see you out there, and we'll see you.